finally another UA. We've been waiting months for this. And I don't know what the deal is. I have been checking literally the UA page on D&D Beyond multiple times a day, every day since December 1st. And they still got me. Like I even checked multiple times this morning and there was nothing. And then I got to the gym and I got the announcement while like literally on my first warm-up set at the gym. And it's the third time they've done it to me. So I wonder if they have like a camera on me. Are you watching? Watsy, I love you. But exciting stuff. Let's get into it. Here's the article on D&D Beyond. It is called Mystic Subclasses, which I assumed at first was going to be for the old name for the Scion, which was the Mystic. And I was like, what are they doing? And then I read it, and they're not doing that at all. These are all like magical subclasses. I guess different than the arcane subclasses that they've done 2 UAs on now. Got to pick a new word. So the Mystic subclasses, the Unearthed Arcana features 4 new subclasses that share an interest in magic. They combine magic and martial prowess, prey on or protect spellcasters, and commune with eldritch beings that seek to return from death. Very cool thematically. And I'm going to cover the monk in this video. So Warrior of the Mystic Arts Monk. A Warrior of the Mystic Arts combines spellcasting with martial arts in several ways. For example, the character can expend focus points to regain spell slots or vice versa, expending spell slots to regain focus points. As they advance in level, the Warrior of the Mystic Arts can combine attacks and spellcasting in a single action. The subclass uses Wisdom as its spellcasting ability, and its spells come from the Sorcerer spell list. So, about freaking time. I've been wanting a 1/3 spellcasting subclass for monks since the beginning of when I first learned 5th edition D&D. And I know a lot of people have. And frankly, many of us thought that this is what the Warrior of the Elements should have been. It should have been a 1/3 spellcaster with like druid spells. So finally, we've got a 1/3 spellcaster that is a monk. Let's look at the details. Warrior of the Mystic Arts Monk, weave martial and mystic arts. Warriors of the Mystic Arts wield magic to supplement their martial skill. They harness their supernatural focus to enhance their magical and physical abilities. Level 3 spellcasting, all the standard stuff. The important call out here is it works just like any other 1/3 spellcaster, but it is the sorcerer spell list, not druid, like Warrior of the Elements should have been. Otherwise, it's the same as a 1/3 spellcaster, same spell slot progression. They recommend jump, magic missile, and shield. All of those are probably bad for the monk. I wouldn't take any of those on monk. The monk already has a really good reaction. Maybe shield. Definitely not magic missile or jump. You would use step of the wind instead of jump, or make just attacks instead of magic missile. So not great recommendations there, but that's fine. It doesn't change the mechanics. You can change your spells when spells known or spells prepared when you level up. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for the sorcerer spells, as it should be, right? It's just always bothered me that you have a martial class whose primary ability score is not strength or dexterity or constitution. It is a mental stat, and yet you don't have any spellcasting to go with it. Yes, they have some things that work off of your wisdom, but not a lot of things. And that's always bothered me with the monk. And so just spellcasting was like the natural way to fix that with like minimal complexity. So I'm just super excited for this. Yes, use wisdom for your spellcasting of your sorcerer spells. You can use arcane focuses. And if you multi-class, you get 1/3 your monk level rounded down. At level 6, and that's all you get at level 3, just spellcasting, which is probably enough. Level 6, Mystic Focus. You keep your magical power and martial focus in perfect balance, allowing you to convert spell slots into focus points or convert focus points into spell slots. Converting spell slots to focus points. You can expend a spell slot to regain a number of expended focus points equal to the spell slot's level, no action required. That's fine. I think it's totally fine. All right, you don't have a lot of spell slots, and burning those to gain some focus points back is an interesting decision. Like if you used up all your focus points, you don't have time for a short rest, you can burn some non-expended spell slots and give yourself some focus points back. So that direction I think works just fine as is. The other direction is a problem. Okay, recovering spell slots. As a bonus action, you can transform unexpended focus points to recover 1 expended spell slot. The recovering spell slots table shows the cost of recovering a spell slot of a given level, and it lists the minimum monk level you must be to recover a slot. You can recover a spell slot no higher than level 4. And yes, it's not like a 1-to-1, right? You don't get 1 spell slot level per focus point. as you shouldn't, right? It's actually very similar to the what the sorcerers get with their meta magic, being able to convert sorcery points into spell slots. So that all makes sense. The problem here is, and that's the end of the ability, right? So that's it for the feature. And the problem is that is very different than what you have with sorcerers, right? Sorcerers do not get more sorcery points until a long rest. Monks get all their focus points back on a short rest. So if you have 4 hours of downtime in the middle of the day, you could just recover all of your spell slots. And I'm not sure that's well balanced. Especially if you multi-class, like that is so good. You might go 6 levels in this and then go the rest of the way as a primary spellcaster in anything else, and then use this to just regain all of your spell slots. You would regain, with if you're a level 6 monk, you would regain 6 spell slot levels per short rest on top of anything else you could do. That is way too strong, way too strong. I guess not 6 spell slot levels. It would be like because of the reduction, but you could get a 4th level spell slot for 6 focus points. So you could regain a 4th level spell slot every short rest. You could regain or a 3rd level spell slot every short rest. If you only went to level 6, I guess you could only regain 3 1st level spell slots on a short rest. If you stop at level 6, I guess it's not too bad just regaining your 1st level spell slots. I don't know. That seems problematic, and they should probably cap it on how many times you can convert spell slot or focus points to spell slots. Probably like wisdom modifier times per day. Like you can, because you can only recover 1 spell slot at a time. So just say you can only recover once. You can only do this recovering spell slots, wisdom modifier times per long rest. So that way you could, however many focus points you have, it doesn't matter because you could only recover a total of 4 or 5 spell slots in a day, no matter how many times you rested. Yeah, that would probably work okay. They really need to put a limit on that. It's otherwise going to be super problematic for sure. People will find ways to break that. I am 100% confident. Level 6 still, Mystic Fighting style. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with a casting of one of your sorcerer cantrips that is a casting time of an action. Cool, thematic, I love it. One thing they should change is just make it so that you can put a note in here that says you can use blade cantrips with unarmed strikes, right? Like if you use Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, or True Strike, just say that those just work with your unarmed strike. This is the power level on this is just fine as it is. So that's not for a power gain. It's so that people who really want to lean into being just the unarmed strike type of monk aren't penalized for that, right? This otherwise doing that would require you to have a weapon, and if they don't want to play that way, you're kind of forcing them into a certain kind of fantasy. And most other cantrips are probably not worth casting. I mean, Blade Ward for sure is worth casting that way. Just boost your AC, essentially boost your AC by 1d4. But it's not great to, make attack cantrips. I don't know, maybe a Mind Sliver to reduce Mind Sliver. That's going to be a lot less damage than your unarmed strike, but that's going to give them a minus 1d4 in the next saving throw. Then you hit them with the rest of your attacks, use Stunning Strike, and they've now got a minus 1d4 on their Stunning Strike. There's some good combos you can make with that. That's a lot at level 6. Wow, that's a very powerful level 6. Which is great. I mean, I think the monk base class is so much better in 2024 that they don't really need super powerful subclasses anymore. And now we're getting some like good subclasses for monks too. I don't think this is overpowered, but wow, some big power jumps for this. Level 11, Centered Focus. Whenever you expend a focus point to use Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, or Step of the Wind, you have advantage on any saving throws you make to maintain concentration until the start of your next turn. Yeah, I like that. It makes it so you don't feel nearly as much pressure to take Warcaster, and as a monk, you don't get extra feat slots. You have the same numbers as everybody else, 4 plus your 1 epic boon. And as a monk, you really need to raise your dexterity as high as you can and your wisdom as high as you can. So you don't really have room for Warcaster. So I like that. And about a level 11 is maybe a little late. You'd probably want it like level 6, but your level 6 is heavily loaded. So it would be, you can't add that to level 6. Maybe swap Mystic Fighting Style and Centered Focus. I could see swapping those two, but I don't know. Take your pick. Both of those are highly desirable at level 6 and would make sense at level 6. So, but one of them's got to be level 11. Moving on to level 17, improved Mystic Fighting Style. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace 2 of the attacks with the casting of one of your first or second level sorcerer spells that has a casting time of an action. So this is strange. I mean, I get it, right? It's like they're copying the Eldritch Knight. The problem is here that the monk only has 2 attacks with their attack action, right? So you're replacing all of your attacks from your attack action to cast a spell. So most of the time, this will do nothing. Like it's just the same as if you just used your action to cast a spell, right? Because you no longer need to take the attack action to use your bonus action to make a regular martial arts attack, nor for flurry of blows. Neither of those require the attack action anymore. So you can just cast a spell as your action and still do that anyway. So you don't need this to make that work. The only way this has any impact that I can see is when you are talking about features that require you to take the attack action, right? So 2-weapon fighting requires you to take the attack action to get the extra attack from the light weapon property. But you do not want to use 2-weapon fighting in the standard way, which requires your bonus action to make that extra attack. Because your bonus action is better spent on martial arts, which you already get for free at level 1, or flurry of blows, which is far better by level 11. You're now making 3 flurry of blows with your bonus action, right? So you don't want to do that either. The only way it would make sense is if you take the feat to get weapon mastery with a dagger that has nick, which then allows you to make the extra attack from the light weapon property as part of your attack action. Then you replace the 2 regular attacks, because you only have 2 attacks with your extra attack, right? Your 2 regular attacks with a casting of a spell, that still counts as you using the attack action. Therefore, you still get the nick attack as part of your action. So you would cast a spell, nick attack, and then you have your bonus action. That only works if you take weapon mastery in a nick weapon that qualifies as a monk weapon for you, right? So, and because monks don't get weapon masteries. So this level 17 feature doesn't really make sense at all. Yeah. Maybe if they tweaked it, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. They got to rewrite this one. I mean, yeah, that's great if the monk wants to build that way, and yes, that is probably one of the most, to achieve the highest DPR as a monk is to go weapon mastery with a nick weapon. But that shouldn't be the only thing, the only build that benefits from this, also requiring you to spend to get a feat, a very specific feat. Like that's just not the right way to design something. So they should go back to the drawing board and do something else with this. I mean, I like the idea. Maybe they could say, well, just replace one of your attacks to get a first level spell. Maybe even, one of your attacks to get a second level spell, or maybe they should move this to your bonus action and say, as part of your bonus action, when you do flurry of blows, you're going to replace 2 of those flurry of blows attacks with a casting of a sorcerer spell that has a casting time of an action. So you're getting an action cast spell during your bonus action, giving up 2 of your flurry of blows and leaving you with 1 flurry of blows left. That would be a better way to do this, I think. Yeah. But overall, I give it a thumbs up. I love it. They should definitely not start over with this whole thing. I love the spell casting. They just got to tweak a few things to make it, the level 6 ability to just regain spell slots. Spending your focus points is going to be way too abusable. That's your back to the coffee lock kind of situation, right? I guess you just regain spell slots. You can't. It doesn't say you can create new spell slots, right? You can only recover expended spell slots. You can't do the coffee lock thing, but it's still heavily abusable. And their level 17 feature doesn't work well. So tweak those 2 things. They got an excellent subclass here, and I think many, many people will be super excited to play this. That's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. Remember to be cool when you play D&D. Catch you next time.